It's Speak It Thursday, and it's your girl Shuli, and we are back for season 2. You know what? There has been so much going on. I think the last time I was with you all, it was Thanksgiving, and we had hopes that the new year would bring changes with COVID and we could get back out in the world. But guess what? We're still here. And we're talking about COVID. We have a new president. We so much. So it's time for us to catch up. But what I want to talk about tonight is COVID vaccination. That's where we are right now. So last time it was just trying to get the information straight. What is COVID? What is not COVID? How do you protect yourself? But we're at the place now where it's time to make a decision. Should we get the vaccination or not? There are people who are skeptical. There are people who've already gotten it, but you know what? We're family. Let's talk about this like family would talk about it. And to help me talk about it tonight, I have 2 conversation starters who are truly fam. They are Graham fam. I went to Grambling with them, and now they're grown and they're doing grown things in the world. They are career professionals in the medical industry. Let me read the bio so you'll know who we have. We have Dr. Marlisa Hardy. She's an experienced public health researcher that has built her career working in academia, the hospital, and healthcare industries. Currently, let's talk about what she's doing now. Dr. Hardy works as a senior program manager of research at the University of Texas Health Science Center here in Houston, so UTHealth School of Public Health. She is responsible for running a COVID Prevalence Project in partnership with Baylor College of Medicine and Harris County Public Health. And her project goal is to recruit participants ages 8 and up for free COVID testing in Harris County in order to identify the prevalence of the COVID-19 virus in Houston. And like I said, she got her undergraduate degree from Grambling State University, but she has degrees, a Master of Public Health degree in maternal and child health from Tulane University, and a Doctor of Public Health degree in community health practice and biostatistics from the University of Texas School of Public Health. And then we have her hubby, the other part, Team Hardy. They are a duo and a powerhouse medical couple. Mr. Diorcy B. Hardy graduated cum laude from Grambling State University in 2000 with a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. After graduation, Diorcy began an intensive care internship for graduate nurses at Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas, Texas. He went on to work 14 years as an ICU nurse, specializing in care for liver and kidney transplant recipients. During that time, he became proficient in placement of small bowel feeding tubes and application of continuous renal replacement therapy. For the last 6 years, Diorcy has been employed by Memorial Hermann Hospital in the Texas Medical Center here in Houston, and he works as a registered nurse in the post-anesthesia care unit where he cares for post-operative patients. Diorcy is the full-time charge nurse of his recovery unit, and they are parents and they're working hard and they're here to help us navigate this. So give them a Speak It welcome by dropping hearts. And I hope when you're coming in, you are also dropping your city. So I'm bringing them up on the stage. So let's welcome them properly. Welcome, Team Hardy.
Hi, how you doing? How you doing, Julie?
Thanks for having me.
Good. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Okay, almost Friday.
I know, but look how you're doing for real, right? On a Thursday.
Yeah.
Look, hey, we're talking to another adult, so that's always a good thing. We spend most of our days with the kids and pop up there, so it's good to see another friendly, familiar face.
They have an active 2-year-old.
4.
That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, 4. Oh my God. Okay, I'm behind. He's an active 4-year-old with the energy of looks like 5 kids.
Yeah, that's about pretty much that sums it up.
So let's jump into this conversation. I already shared your background from your bios, but talk to me about why, and either person can start, why you went into your chosen profession. That's the first part. And the second part, did you ever think we would end up here?
Wow. Okay. I actually actually did not think I would end up as a doctor of public health. Growing up, I wanted to be an obstetrician. And I actually did not want to go to Grambling. I wanted to go to Baylor.
Oh, really?
So yeah, but see the way things were set up, what happened was Grambling came through with that full ride, and so Mary and Maurice Stewart were like, "Hey, you're going to Grambling." So that's how I ended up at Grambling, which turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. To be honest, I met my husband, I met my grand fam, and 20 plus years later, we're still grand fam, and like you said, family. So it just I just kind of feel like this profession chose me. Because when I graduated from Grambling, I was hired on as an environmental scientist at the EPA in Chicago. So I moved from Houston to Chicago after graduation, and I actually loved my job there. But it was really cold, so I stayed sick a lot. Going from 10 months of summer to basically 10 months of winter, it was a shock, to my system.
Chicago is cold.
Yeah, Chicago is cold. I mean, when I did not know what the hawk was until I moved to Chicago. So that hawk is that wind, that breeze coming off of Lake Michigan, and it's 3 degrees for the high and -10 for the low. So that my whole southern body couldn't take that. So finishing up in Chicago, I had a internship that had me doing rotations throughout. So I had to go to DC and went to California. So on a field trip out in California, we did a trip to the southern border of California and Mexico. So it's that area right by the southern border that's called Calexico. And at the time, the New River was the most polluted river in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So it just struck me how where these people live, work, and play really affected their health. I mean, they had a high incidence of cancer and childbirth defects and learning disorders. And it just really opened my eyes to a whole other world of medicine and environmental science that I, did not get that experience being, at Grambling, just doing a straight biology degree. So learning that and having that experience, and then I went to school. I chose Tulane because at the time there were only 2 programs in the United States that had the degree that I wanted. So it was Harvard and Tulane, and I got into both. But the way that North Hawk is set up, I was like, I just don't really
Had
I
enough.
did not see myself living in Boston, for 2-3 years after leaving Chicago. So that's how I ended up at Tulane. So got my degree in maternal child health, and then just learning like the biostatistics and things that I never thought I would be interested in, and just clinical research and the way medicine, like bench science, translates to what we do out in the world, and how we move about in the healthcare system. Just really intrigued me. So went to work and went back to school and got my doctorate in health practice and about statistics. I never thought I would be interested in, but that's just the way that
Hold on, Lisa. I'm
felt for
having
me.
some.
And
Can you hear
fast
me? I'm
forward
having a
to
little
when
interference. Can you hear me okay? I'm sorry.
yeah
There was
we can
an
hear.
echo or something. Oh, stay right there. Wherever you are right there. If you could
Okay.
stay. Is your microphone right there? Okay, good. All
Yeah.
right, good. Because I couldn't hear you
Yeah.
for a second. Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah. So that's how I came to public health. Public health chose me because I thought I was going to be a pediatrician, or I'm sorry, obstetrician.
Okay, but you're out here helping us with these variants. We're going to talk about that in a
Yes.
minute.
Yes, man. We can get into that.
And for me, is I actually had a similar wanting what I wanted to do growing up. I wanted to go to med school. I mean, it's like you grow up watching the Cosby Show and you see the doctor and the lawyer, and you thinking that's I want to do one of those, right? And I thought that all the way up until about my junior-ish year of high school. At that time, my oldest brother was starting out with chiropractic school. You know, he was going to be a doctor of chiropractic. And when I did see him, he would come home. He had all of these books. He was always studying. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. And so I do know I want to do something in healthcare. I started looking over towards nursing, and that started to intrigue me some. And my next thought was, I'm going to go to nursing school. I'm going to go to nursing school. I can go in for 2 years, come out. I'm going to go to CRNA school. It's going to be great. That's what I'm going to do. That was my mindset. So, of course, went to Grambling, went through the nursing program, got out, and I became a nurse, and I was doing my thing, and like, oh, I'm making money. Oh, I'm collecting some bills. I'm like, I got a car, I got an apartment. Like, and then so real life is like, let me look in the CRNA school and see what this is talking about. Oh wait, I got to do what? I got to stop working for this entire time and go straight on loans and.
What is CRNA?
Now I was about to say, yeah. What is the?
Oh, I'm sorry. So that's a certified registered nurse.
Thank you, Team Hardy.
So sorry. My bad. So that's a certified registered nurse anesthetist, which means you hear anesthesiologists, they put people to sleep. CRNAs are like the nursing side of that. They do the same thing. They work under the anesthesiologist. They put them to sleep. Take patients to sleep.
That's what I
They
thought.
did
I
some
wanted
other
to do
things,
when
but
I
that was
grew up.
just kind of.
Oh, really? And you
So,
are.
right. And so I thought that that's the route I want to go, and it's kind of like life happened, and decided to stay where I was, stay in my lane. I like my patients. I love my coworkers at the time. Okay.
Oh, there you
Can
are.
you hear us?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
back.
Okay. So I love my coworkers at the time, and I just kind of put myself all the way 100% into that. And while I was in Dallas, I was there loving it. When I moved to Houston, I decided I wanted a break from the ICU. I thought I probably was going to go back, but now that I've been in the recovery area for going on 6 years now, I don't see myself going back in the ICU. I'm in another area that I love. I'm in another area where um, it fits my life right now. So this is me, and this is where I am.
All right, so now take a deep breath because we're about to dive in. Thank you all for sharing your background. So that's how you started out. Nice. You're going through life and you get a PhD in public health and
DrPH.
DrPH.
Yes, Doctor of Public.
Doctor, okay. Thank you. Doctorate in public health. And then we have certifications in nursing. We're working, and then COVID hit.
Like a brick wall.
Like a brick wall. And tell me what your roles and responsibilities now, like then, and then tell us more like what it's like now. Day in the life.
I'll let you go first.
Okay.
The front line.
Well, for me, when this first hit, I don't know if you remember the Ebola scare back in 2014. They had a few cases in Dallas, and it was kind of quelched at that time. And I was living in Dallas at the time. It never made it to my hospital, luckily. And so when it first hit, I was kind of naive and under the impression that this was going to be something like Ebola. They're going to figure it out. It's not going to spread. They're going to, get this under control immediately. And, a few months down the line, we'll be done with this and on to the next thing. And initially at the hospital, it was kind of still the same thing. And then um, they decided to shut everything down. Like, when Texas closed down, shut everything down, they stopped a lot of cases at that point. And they were only doing selective things. That was a small point in time to where it slowed down as far as what we were doing, as far as procedures. But that part slowed down, but the anxiety ramped up because we weren't sure who had it. They weren't doing a whole lot of testing at that point. We couldn't trust testing. And so it was like every single day, it's like, am I bringing it home today? Am I bringing it home today? You could ask Lisa. I was coming home, stripping in the garage, keeping my clothes in the car. I had a laundry basket in the car. I would just strip in the car. I would come home, open the door in my underwear some days just because, that's what it was. I didn't want to bring anything in the house because I just didn't know. This is the whole unknown point. And once we kind of realized we do have some testing, we have some testing that's becoming more accurate. We had a whole setup in the hospital where we had checks and balances all day long. We limited visitors. So just kind of just doing things to prevent the spread from getting out of control at our facility, and other hospitals in the area were doing similar things.
What were some of the checks?
So going into the hospital, it initially started with like thermal checks. So we do temperature checks. The first few days it was the over the forehead thing, and then I came in one week. They had upgraded from that to we had the whole thermal body scan thing you'll walk through, and we've been doing that the entire time since. Then we went from I can't remember if we ever signed our names in or not, but it was pretty quickly that we went to a check on our phone where we would every day check in, put our employee ID in, signing. So we were basically signing in to work from your phone.
That makes
on the setup,
so that you're not
go through all of our checks, so that way we weren't getting at the door. Hey, when it first happened, it was like you would get through there, they will post a board. Yes, 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 no, no, no. So you go through all your no's. They would run your temperature, and that was it. And then once we got the phone thing, that kind of sped up the process. And so we're actually still doing that now. Every day we come in, and so it's almost like second nature. As I'm on my way to work, I get in the shuttle, and then as I'm on the shuttle, I go on my phone and reach down and do my check-in for the day. We have kind of ramped up and down with cases, but the hospital, since this has started, has pretty much been either full to capacity or close to full to capacity since this has started. And it's just been, it's a year out and you're tired. And I don't even work on the COVID floors, and I'm tired. So to see and hear and know what they're doing on those floors, I still feel for those people that are still doing that every single day.
Yes. And I thank you so much. It's almost like the military, right? Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Being out there, and I even heard you say the bus. So to me, it's not even just going from your car into work. You have to check in, but so now you have to get on the shuttle. What was that like when you see it ramping up? So what's the process on there? Is there a check to get on the shuttle, or are you just trusting that everybody is up to?
So initially, it's the I've been riding the shuttle because it's more convenient now. Where I normally park, you can either get on the shuttle or you can get on the metro. The metro takes you into the metro train, the metro rail takes you into the med center. And initially, I would get on the rail before they started doing work on the rail, and so they just kind of backed everything up. But with the rail, they initially were only it used to be like every 6 minutes or so in the morning, but then when it started, they had more trains coming through because they didn't want them to be so packed. So that's how they adjusted to where we'll have a train coming more frequently. And so you would get on the train, and there's always those signs. Everyone has to wear a mask, but the homeless are on the rails from time to time. And so I've been on there a couple of days, and the boundaries aren't there with them. And so
No,
I've been on there a couple of days, and I remember this one day in particular, this guy got upset with me. I got some unsavory language from him because I was in my normal spot. I got my headphones on. Just it's like a 10 to 15 minutes to just kind of clear my head before I get to the job. And he's asking me something, and I'm like, "Sir, can you back up? You're in my space, and you don't have a mask on." And so walked off. But as he walked off, he got to the other side of the train and just started laying into me. Wasn't laying in me, looking at me, but he started, with the he can give me a 1 and 2 basically.
Like he wanted to
From
try
the other
it.
side of other side of the train.
Yeah.
So it's been days to where I just kind of, I don't know if a little bit of intuition kicks in, like, you know what, I'm just going to drive straight to the building today. And so I've done that a few times, just because I don't feel like dealing with the train. And so luckily now with the shuttle, you might have 4 people on the shuttle in the morning. And so it's a huge bus, and you can spread out.
Okay.
So that's not an issue.
So you took care of it. And like you said, so all of those checkpoints just to get to work. So I'm just thinking emotionally. So you're not just, like you said, you're tired physically, and it sounds like tired emotionally, but then you still have to do your life.
Yeah.
You have a family and all of that. So how has that been? Lisa, let's talk about it. So you're in public health. You understand, like, just from how these things go, what has that been like with your having to manage in your space, and then you guys, this is just, how has that been?
Well, for me, since I'm not in a patient-facing role, I was able to work from home completely. And at the time, I was at Baylor still. And so, like, the last thing I remember us doing freely was going to the barbecue cook-off at the rodeo. And then it was like full stop. Everything shut down. Baylor was like, don't come back up here. So I was at home from March to August. Well, no, I went back in June for like a week. And then we were, having fights again. It started ramping up. And then it was like, all right, see y'all back whenever. Like, so I was basically at home with the deal and Marley every day for 5 months. And while I had a sense of, okay, my babies are home, I can watch them, I can control their environment, every morning, um, kissing me goodbye and, tell them, have a good day, I love you, be safe. I was terrified. I never told him that because I know he has to go to work and I don't want, and for me to worry, it worries him that I'm worried. So I don't want to send him to work like that. We try and start our day like, love and, have a good day, love you, kisses. But I was terrified, to be honest. Because like he said, he didn't have the option to, stay home. He never stopped going to work.
That's true.
I mean, it was like, COVID hit, everything shut down, and then he was like, all right. I'm like, but everything is shut down. Like, where are you going? And he's like, this is my job. Like, hospital don't close. So I really had to calm myself, those first couple of weeks, seeing him, go to work every day because, he's, father of my child, he's my husband, my best friend. And I'm like, kind of like sending him off to war every day. Like, how is he going to come back? He was fine when he left, but how is he going to come back? And that was constantly on my mind. Constantly like, when he left at home, I hear him pulling around, and I'm like, okay, let me get the Clorox wipes. Let me make sure we got, stuff in the laundry room ready for him. Because I mean, it was like a full dawn. Come in naked and get in the shower, and it's just like. So I just wanted to, be able to support him, but I was scared because I didn't know how he would come back, and he didn't tell when it first hit, he had, packed like a week of clothes and
bag.
Yeah, like a bag and just kept it in the car because he was like, it could be one day that I go to work and can't come home and I'll have to stay in a hotel. And I had never thought about it like that, but that night I just kind of cried because I'm like, it's really like he could be out of here and I'm just at the house, with the kids and I don't know when he's coming back. I mean, because this was when, we didn't know anything about, how people were either dying or they were having COVID like for months on end. So you just never know how it would affect you. And so it was very nerve wracking. Now that we're a year in, and well, we have a whole other set of worries now. But now that we, thank God, we've been okay this year. No one's gotten sick. We've been able to control our environment, keep our children safe. But it's been just a roller coaster of trying to still do my job. Do the best I can as a mom, as a wife, as a professional. But it was nerve wracking. It was very nerve wracking at the beginning.
Let's see. So there's this, I'm listening, I'm doing tech stuff on the end too. I'm like listening with one ear and like reading. So let's do a quick tech check. So you're fading in and out. I don't know where your microphone is on your computer or.
It's at the top. Can you hear it?
I hear it now. It seems like if you turn a little bit or something. So yeah, wherever you are, it's going to make you probably feel like a little robot or something, but maybe stay close to is it the center?
Yeah.
Okay, I just pulled a little closer. Can you hear us better?
Yeah,
or
that's good. No, that's it right there. Okay. That's it right there. I have my tech team. I'm so thankful on the back end that they kind of make sure our sound is good and all of that good stuff. So with that said, your best friend, your husband, the father of the children, like he's there, he's going out to work. You have your roles and responsibilities. So it's like this. I'm just almost setting it up like you're humans, you're professionals, but you're humans first. And I mean, you both have great responsibilities during this time. And so you got the vaccine, both of you got the vaccine, which is why I wanted you on because you got the vaccines early. Well, I would say early, like pretty much when they first rolled out. I think I remember seeing pictures on your Facebook. So who got it first? And let's talk about that. So I'm hearing all of this. So is that why you decided to get the vaccine as soon as you were able to? Okay, what about now? Was that why with everything that you had going on, the things that you'd seen, is that the reason why you decided to get the vaccine as soon as you could? Can you hear me?
For me, yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
You can hear us? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. I got the vaccine in January, so beginning of January. So I left Baylor in December and, got the job I have now with UT. So, took the promotion and went over there. So, after the frontline workers, got in line for the vaccine, UT opened it up to faculty and staff. So, sitting at home over Christmas break, I got a text and was like, hey, you can sign up for a vaccine appointment. I'm like, whoa, that was quick. Because it was literally like the 2 weeks after the first shipments of vaccines, started hitting the state. And I did already took Pfizer, and he was fine. He didn't, grow a third leg or anything. So I'm like, all right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go in. Well, it was Moderna that I had to take, so we kind of had a natural, research project going on because I wanted to see, if I take Moderna and he takes Pfizer, that's the researcher and be like, what are the outcomes going to be? Because he was fine, and I was, silently worried about him, taking the vaccine because he took it for like the third day they offered it.
Yeah, it was like a Friday Thursday or Friday that they said, oh, hey, we're going to start giving out the vaccines. It's going to start with it was tiered. We have the frontline workers, the COVID, all the patient, the COVID population employees, the ER employees, and maybe one or two other little areas. And so the perioperative area wasn't on that first list. And so I'm like, oh yeah, well, they said we'll be maybe in the second wave. So maybe a month or so down the line, I got to work Monday. They were like, hey, you want to sign up for? I just signed up for the next day. Yeah, I think I signed up. And so it was like the December 22nd or something like that, like a few days before Christmas.
Wow. Okay. Uh-oh. The sound went out. I'm sorry. We're having some technical difficulties. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you
there.
hear me?
Yes, you're gonna have to stay right here like that.
So he had texted me at work and was like, "Hey, I can, get the vaccine." I'm like,
Mm,
I knew this day was coming, but I didn't know like today was gonna be the day, right? And so we got home that day. He was like, "I'm going in, I'm gonna take it. What you think?" And I'm like, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because he's at risk every day leaving the house. So it's
true.
like, do you send him out there, knowing that he's at a heightened risk and not give him, the best protection that's available right now? So you don't want to do that. So I was just like, I just have, Tylenol at the house, orange juice, and all the things that they said, would help. Right. Everything all right? It's gonna be okay.
Checking the pulse.
Right.
Yeah, checking the pulse. I'm like, you need anything? I mean, because the thing about me is he's a wonderful nurse. He's an awesome nurse, but he's a horrible patient. If he's sick, he will not go to the doctor. He will not. I would have to threaten to leave him if I'm like, go to the doctor. He will not do it. So I was worried about that, knowing the way he is as a patient. And I'm like, would he take the medicine if he needed? Would he try and just, power through like he does everything else? So that was my worry, that he wouldn't tell me that he was having, some issues. But he made it through okay. And that was fine for that first shot. But for the second shot, since we've been, let me be honest, I was wiped out.
Okay. So like fatigue, like what were your symptoms?
Yeah. I was so I took it on Wednesday, and by that Wednesday night, I just had like a heat pad on my shoulder, where I got the shot. No fever or anything, but like going into that next morning, I felt like the Tin Man. Like I was so stiff. My neck was stiff, like I couldn't turn without a lot of pain. D was like, so I was trying to get through it because I knew if I could just get through like the first 6 to 12 hours, that would give my body the best, chance to mount a response. Because that's the thing about vaccines, like you want to have a reaction to it because that's how you know that your body is getting the most, robust response to it, and it's mounting the response that you need, right? But that's that's also the process you have to go through it. So I was stiff, I was sleepy, I could not keep my eyes open.
Mm.
I mean, Dylan was here, waking me up, and my dad called me and was like, I'm on my way because who's in the house over there? I'm like, probably Dylan at this point because I am tired. I just could not, stay awake. And so my dad came over Thursday to help me through it. And we stayed home that Friday. And I didn't really get to feeling, like myself until that Saturday afternoon.
And for me, I just since I took the second the other
The Pfizer.
vaccine at the time, the Pfizer.
Mm-hmm.
I was had some stiffness. My stiffness felt more like I hadn't been at the gym in a while, and I went back to the gym. And after the first few days being in the gym, you get super sore all your muscles are kind of achy. Whatever you worked on is achy for the next couple of days. And so that's how it felt for me that following day. The night of, I probably went to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
No.
normally I'm not in the bed before about 11:30 most days. So Lisa, I was sleeping on the couch in there, and she was like, "Why don't you just go to bed?" You know what? You're right. I'm gonna go to bed. So I went to sleep early that night. Got a whole full 8 hours, and I felt okay the following day, other than the soreness. The soreness stayed for maybe like another day and a half or so, and then it was done.
Okay. So is that something that pretty much everybody can expect? Lisa, you were talking about that with the vaccine. So is it that we have the wrong expectation about taking a vaccine? Can you talk to us more about that? Because you said something that I
Yeah.
think is very important.
Yeah, that could be it. I think people think, when you take a vaccine that you're not supposed to feel it, like, it's mounting a response, but you shouldn't, because it's protecting you, that it shouldn't hurt. And it won't hurt as far as like, taking you out for days and, weeks on end, but you want to know that your body is reacting to it, because that's how you build antibodies that you need to fight, disease. So that could be part of it, that people think that because they feel it, that they're being either being given the virus itself, because why would I be sick if I'm taking a vaccine? It's not supposed to make me sick. Well, it's not supposed to, but that is a common side effect. There are side effects to anything. It's usually pain at the injection site, sore, but there are some rare side effects where people get blisters, or headaches, very bad headaches, the GI issues, stomach aches, very high fever. But again, that's part of the course. That's how
Mhm.
however your body reacts to it is how your body reacts to it, and you don't know until you do
I think that's the scary part for me.
it.
And I know I have allergies. I'm prone to hives. When the pandemic first started, I felt like my hives are under control. I have shellfish allergy, but every month I was breaking out in hives. Like, I did not know what was going on. I was back and forth to the doctor. I was scared. I'm like, is it COVID? Is it whatever? Like, I just had so much going on, like with upper respiratory things. So it just kind of made me nervous going through it. Now I realize maybe it was stress,
I'm about to say I'm probably stress induced.
yeah, because so that makes me scared with this, because I read somewhere about Moderna, if you have, or which one of them, Moderna, that's a tongue twister for me, whatever, or in Pfizer, that one of them could cause hives or something like that. So that scared me, knowing that I had gone through that, because at one point I thought I was going to have to go to the ER, but I was scared to go to the ER because it's COVID. Yeah. So what do you say to people who are afraid and they have other health issues going on?
So I've had this question before. I would say, I'm so you know, for moment of honesty, I have a brother that has MS, and for him, multiple sclerosis. Sorry, multiple sclerosis. So thank you. Um, and so for him, the he can't take a flu. Yeah. And so he can't take that vaccine. And so when the COVID vaccine came about, that was one of the first things my mom asked me. Hey, what do you think about Damien? Can he take it? And then so it was more so of, look, hey, I'm not an expert, but talk to his neurologist and have them go over that with you guys, because just because maybe one thing he can't take, maybe it's just something that he can. And so they've actually decided uh, throughout for his treatment that once he gets another um, infusion that he has to have, and they'll wait a few weeks after that, and he can go ahead and get vaccinated. Another friend of mine inboxed me on Facebook with something similar, similar disorder. And she kind of asked the same thing, and I asked her straight up, how is your relationship with your physician? And she said she has a great personal relationship with her PCP. And I was like, great, speak to them about it. You trust them, and you come up with a game plan. And I still say that to anyone. Come up with a game plan with your physicians if you have somebody that you trust, and go from there. Because they are professionals, and they will work with you with whatever you have going on. And then there's that small population that just won't be able to do it. And that's just, and those are the people that we actually need to protect.
True.
So because they don't have, like, right now for us it's our kids. They can't take the vaccine; it's not available to them, and so I take it to protect them.
Yeah, that was one of the drivers for for us to go ahead and build the herd immunity in our home. They aren't in school physically, but we still go out to the world, grocery shop, and we try to take to the mall, every now and then to get out of this for a while. So just knowing that, we were able to get it, we are protecting them by getting the vaccine. So that was, how we came about, making a decision to make that.
Okay. And so was there, Diorcy, it seemed like you didn't really have time to think about it, but was there like a moment of skepticism?
So my skepticism came before the vaccines got approved for EUA, or emergency use authorization. My skepticism came, just being honest, when the former president was saying that, hey, we got these vaccines and they're coming and they'll be ready. And this was over the summer. And I told Lisa, like, these vaccines are done in like August, September. I'm not taking that. I promise you that, because I don't trust it, and it was because, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth and expect people to, go with that and trust it. And so, we watched more news over the last year. We always kind of watch the news.
I like this.
My father-in-law watches the kids a lot, and so since he's been here, we're coming in the evening. He has the news on, and so we just kind of watch. But since this has started, we have watched the news. We have read articles. I don't know the last time I clicked the CDC's website for any. I mean, Lisa does because she works in public health, but I'm not on that side of it, so I don't need to go and click on the CDC and see, looking at the stuff on the CDC, looking at alternate websites just to compare, information. And once, we talked about things at home, like, look, okay, I like the way this looks. And they were like talking about mRNA and what that does. So, okay, that's something that most people don't know what it is.
And what is it?
But you want to go with that one? Public health person.
For me, the mRNA technology is not a new technology. Right. And so that's the rub for me, being a public health professional, trying to convince people. They're like, no, this is completely new. Why all of a sudden is this vaccine ready? The technology behind the vaccine is not new. mRNA, has been used in, cancer research for eons. Right? Now, as a vaccine, it is a new form of delivering a vaccine with the mRNA technology, but the technology itself is not new. So, people that are not in the science realm and research realm don't know that. So I don't expect people to know what I know. But for people to be like, oh, it's all wrong. Baby COVID is not been there. This has not been something that they, somebody cooked up and was like, let's try mRNA. This is not new. And so I think that's that's the misconception too, that, people are thinking, well, did they get this from Mars? Where did they get all of a sudden? My thing is, Dr. Fauci is, I had just adopted him as, he is like a part of my family now. Dr. Fauci is not going to hang his hat on something that ain't, 100. Like, this man has been in this type of work for 40 years. he has, advised our president at this point. If he said it's good to go, and I read the data and, read up on, what it is, I mean, that's all I needed. Now, if the former president was the only one like, yeah, let's do this, I think I'm a whole bag. Yeah. So
I trust Dr. Fauci, but it just seemed like it was too fast for me. And I'm like, I didn't realize it, but I'm like, maybe it's the Tuskegee experiment that still, sits in our mind. So let's talk about the science of it. Obviously, you trust it, you've read it, you've done research, Lisa. So let's talk about the science and compare where we are now to what happened, which we know was horrible then, that still like just sits in our minds, I think, as Black people.
Yeah. That's the problem with it. I mean, Tuskegee was a good thing. The big thing is that it was a government-run study that withheld treatment to Black men that had syphilis. Now, there's a misconception that during that study, the study participants were given syphilis.
Yeah.
That is incorrect. When penicillin became the known treatment for syphilis, and they knew that, and they withheld that treatment, that was the problem. They wanted to watch the natural progression of syphilis.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm here. The audio is kind of going out. Is there a phone, or is this up on another device? Okay. I don't know what's going on. It won't let us be great.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you good.
Okay.
Can you hear us now?
It's kind of in and out. We're gonna try to power through it because I want to hear this. The science, I think.
Okay.
I think that helps. I hear now. It's back.
Okay. So yeah, that's the common misconception that the government was giving people syphilis, and that it was just not the case. They were withholding treatment, and so for people to use Tuskegee as the reason why they won't get the COVID vaccine is a false equivalency. It's just not the case. And even I read an article not too long ago that the descendants of the family of the people in the Tuskegee study were like, this is not the same.
Right.
So if those family members are saying, hey, this is not the same, how can we as a public, and yes, into the psyche of Black Americans, and for good reason, because we need to learn from our history or we're going to repeat it. But that we can't use that as a justification to stay away from this vaccine.
Yeah.
Right. And now, more recently, and just in modern times, there's more people that look like us at the table, right?
Absolutely.
There's more people that look like us doing the research. One of the main researchers of this was a Black woman.
Yeah.
She was on the thing with Pfizer? Or was it with Moderna? And so it's like she says, a false equivalency, because you think back to what was that, the 30s, when the whole Tuskegee thing came along. All doctors were white men, and so they didn't, they looked at us a different way. Now, yes, 2021, and yes, you still feel that sometimes people still look at us a different way, but we also have a seat at a lot of these tables making decisions, and so that's important for us to know and understand, that we're not just out here on our own doing, God knows what, just letting the government experiment on Black people. That's just not.
Yeah. Turn them laptop. So now, Lisa, you talk. I want y'all to try to maybe swivel the laptop and see if that'll help with it. All right.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that I work on projects at work all the time where I have to submit to what's called an institutional review board, and they look at everything that we want to give or talk to the public about, and through a scientific lens. So there is nothing that can get through to be approved for a research with the public that someone on a board has not looked at and vetted. So those types of, atrocities like, like Tuskegee cannot happen again. And again, I understand people don't do what I do, so they don't know that. But like for those in the public health realm, that is like the rub for us. Like, why do people keep saying this? It's not true. So we just have to, do things like this to try and educate people. Like, just know that there are checks in place that will, safeguard us from being experimented on again.
So is that the conversation you think we need to have? Like, what do you think we need to hear? What do you think will help people to feel more comfortable with this?
I think it's continuing those same conversations. And then some people just have to be shown. Like I had another thing. I've had other people in my inbox. Hey, I saw you got the shot, and that influenced me to want to get it. And I'm not talking about, I mean, it's people that I know, but I'm not talking about my friends that I talk to on a daily basis or a weekly basis even. It's it's just seeing more people, and I'm glad I'm seeing a lot of my friends on my different social media sites that are actually going along with it and taking pictures and showing. And normally nobody goes to the doctor and takes a picture of themselves taking the shot.
That's true.
This, I think, is something that's needed to say, okay, well, if they're doing like, I see so many people getting it done. And I'm not saying you just have to be a sheep because you're seeing other people getting it done, but for us, their visual is important.
Yeah, and I need to see you 6 months later still.
True.
Yeah, we are fine. We don't have a third eye room.
Like, hold up your hands. Do you have both of your arms?
Yeah.
Okay, what about the variants? Because I think that's the other thing too. We have, they're saying we're in the fourth wave of COVID here, and then we have all of these different variants. So will the vaccine help you with that? Talk to us about that from the research perspective.
Yes, ma'am. So as of right now, there are 5 different variants in the United States that have been identified. As of this week, the UK variant emerged as the predominant variant in the country. So what that means is the COVID that hit, this time last year, the one that came to our shores first, that is no longer the dominant strain. So the UK variant is now what is out there, and what is from what they've researched is more transmissible, so you can catch it easier and it makes you sicker quicker. Okay. So, but the good news is with the vaccines, again, the data that they have now is showing that the vaccines are protective against the UK and the South African strains.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the Brazilian strain at this point, but for the dominant strain that we have in the country, it is protective against that. So that's even more reason to get the vaccine, especially now that Texas is open. Texas gonna Texas.
Right.
Texas. I can't even say it. Texas.
Texas
right now.
Texas is gonna Texas. And so there is no mask mandate in place now. Even though I think people are still, wearing the mask, which is good to see, as a public health practitioner, I'm like, yes, wear the mask. That's still our best line of defense, even with the vaccine on board. I mean, if you're not, respirating stuff, that is helping us, help each other by keeping the mask on. So, we're just nowhere near out of this at this point. And I know people don't want to hear that, but that is truly the reality. We are not done with it yet. And just because we're tired of it, that don't mean nothing. Like now we got a whole nother set of variants that, unfortunately is making, people sicker quicker. So,
and I read, and you tell me if this is true or not, that this new one is impacting younger people more than the previous ones. Is that true?
Correct.
It is, and it's at this point, it's hard to tell if it's because it's specifically attacking younger people, but it's more younger people out. We are a month or so out of spring break, and most of those people that were out just living it up, especially in Texas, once we decided to lift the mask mandate, the younger kids, and so now it's affecting them more because the older people, once I'm not super old, but I'm a parent and I go to work and come home kind of old, to where I'm used to putting a mask on, going out, going about my business, and coming home. These young kids, like, what? We can be open? Oh, let's take this mask off. Let's go party. And so that's why it's affecting them. I mean, it's common sense. It's more of them out and about.
Yeah, when Texas opened back up, that scared me and made me want to go the next day. Then I took too long and I didn't go again. I'm back and forth, but I'm like at that point of I'm going to make a decision about it. Now, one more thing about the chip. So back to the fallacies and things like that. So are they inserting a chip? Like, is that possible to insert a chip in
So
people?
I'm gonna tell you. So let me speak on that real quick. Let me speak on that real quick, Shirley. Everybody can. I mean, the whole 5G thing when it first came. It's 5G doing this. We're worried about a chip, and every one of us walks around with this. We're walking around with the chip, and we're worried about them inserting the chip so they'll know our whereabouts. They know your whereabouts. If somebody committed a crime right now, they would take your phone and figure out all the towers around and figure out what. I watched the first 48. I watched those shows. That's what happens. They do it. It's technology is there, and so no, they're not inserting the chip inside of you.
Okay.
They're not giving you the virus.
Not giving you the virus. It's not mind control. Honestly, movies have kind of warped our minds a bit. Some stuff, yes, obviously, some things that you see in movies are bits and pieces of actual life, but
The Simpsons, I'm just saying.
They're very accurate. They have really shown to be very accurate.
So yeah, I mean, you're not getting a chip or anything inserted inside of you. I mean, I don't think I've walked through metal detectors since then. I haven't gone dinged or gone off.
Yeah.
Stood in front of the microwave. Nothing. So.
I mean, what other lies do you think? I'm saying lies. Whatever. What other misinformation? What other?
I'm sorry. It's a lot of misinformation. And it's a lot of false equivalency that people use. So, and I'll just throw one out there. People say, well, HIV's been around for 40 something years, and there's no cure for HIV. Now, why can't they find a cure for that, but they can find a cure for COVID, right? Well, yes, that's true. But you also know that you don't have to catch HIV, right? You don't. I mean, it's not airborne. It's not. If you're taking the proper precautions, so that's not something that they have to hurry up and fix. And yeah, it's been 40 years. They haven't perfected it yet, so they don't want to get anything that's not perfected on something like that. But it's again, how to not get HIV, right? I mean, just do what you're supposed to be doing. Don't just be out there willy-nilly.
We know one
it's not in the blood products anymore like it was earlier before they knew the test for it, and so exactly it's and so that's one of them. You have the we touched the chip microchip thing. What's some of the other misconceptions that they talk about?
It was
in the towers.
The towers, the cell phone towers. I didn't understand that. But,
So yeah, those are the main ones, the chip, the 5G. And then last thing, some people feel like I don't get the flu shot. So not necessarily anti-vaxxers, but they just don't get the flu shot. So what would you have to say to that?
For me, before I went into the medical field, into healthcare field, I never took a flu shot. I mean, we really didn't even have a flu shot for us growing up.
True.
Probably had the flu every other year from the time I was 10 to about the time I was 16, 17 or so. And I remember having the flu and would be home for a week from school. I would be sick, had a fever, felt fine, and then later on I wouldn't feel good, and go back lay down, chicken noodle soup, orange juice, that whole nine. And once I got into nursing school, I think like my first year of clinicals, that was like, hey, they're offering the flu shot, and started like, okay, let me take the flu shot. I took the flu shot, and I've been taking it every year since then. And I probably had the flu at some point, but I didn't know it was a flu, right? Like, I was maybe sick, or maybe ran a fever one day, and I was fine the next day and went back to work, And so that's another misconception about vaccines. When that people use vaccines are going to cure you. It's a cure. It's going to prevent anything from happening. It won't. It won't.
So no vaccine was 100%.
It's not 100% because you can. So again, I'm using real life experiences. Had a friend text me the other day. Hey, I totally vaccinated, and I still got COVID. And so my first thought was like, okay, what were your symptoms? Cold-like symptoms. That's exactly what they're hoping for. Cold-like symptoms are fine. You can deal with that. You can deal with that because what you don't know is that had you not taken the vaccine and not gotten both doses and you got COVID, you may have gotten just cold-like symptoms. Some people do. Or you could have been hospitalized on a ventilator, flip prone, or not made it at all. Yeah. And so, again, when this first started, it was death or in the hospital for a long time and just not right when you come out. So, it's evolved within this year. We've, found some different ways of treatment, some different medications that work. They're using the convalescent plasma that works to help to quell those symptoms to where your hospital stay is shortened. So,
and then what people don't understand, well, or they may, or just don't think about, the flu shots are only about 67% effective against the flu virus, and people take them every year. I mean, I didn't take the flu shot growing up, but being in the field that I am in now, I do have to take it, for work. But the first flu shot I took was 15 years ago when I was carrying Marley. So that's not something I, grew up with, but, because when I was pregnant with her, my OB said, if you take it, it protects your daughter. So, me being a mother, pregnant, I'm like, let me protect my baby. And I've been taking it ever since. But that's only 67% effective. The COVID vaccines on the market right now are 94 and 95% effective against severe illness and death. Why wouldn't I take it?
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know that the flu shot was only 67%.
Only 67% effective. And people take it every year and don't ask any questions. But, we're going to question a vaccine with 95% efficacy. And as of right now, that's like the most efficacious vaccine known to man. And Dr. Fauci is like, this is gold standard. This is good to go. The science is sound. Like, why would we question that when no one questions the flu vaccine?
True. So Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. Which one are we going with? What do you think?
At this point, I'm saying go with what's available.
Okay.
I mean, I took Moderna, so that's something I can.
Right. He took Moderna, I took Pfizer. At this point, I would say go with what's available. The Johnson & Johnson drops off to
about 77%.
And they did get a bit of a later start. There's more virus out now, right? That's also the gift and the curse there is that Pfizer and Moderna came out, they're 94, 95% effective. There's more virus out now. Now, if you don't have people getting vaccines, I believe those will probably become less effective if people aren't getting the vaccine. This is my personal opinion. I'm not, again, I don't run the
Right.
numbers. And so I kind of feel that if they would have come out at the same time, Johnson & Johnson got a little bit of a late start, then they would have probably been pretty much closer to one another as far as effectiveness. Now, the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are similar in nature as far as using the mRNA technology as a carrier. The Johnson & Johnson is closer to more of what your traditional vaccine looks like. But I mean, again, they're all highly effective. And at this point, if that's available and you are willing and ready to get vaccinated, I would say go whatever's available.
Okay. And Vaxart is coming out with the pill. I think they're trying to develop a pill form of it or something. I don't know. I read that somewhere. Yeah, I read that somewhere. So we shall see what happens there. So we have a question, and then I want you to you're our Dr. Fauci, Dr. Hardy. I've been calling you Lisa this whole time. But Aaliyah I think she's from Rowlett. She said, do y'all think that it is fair to make it mandatory to get the vaccination, or are you more in line with choice, vaccinate or continue precautions and frequent testing?
So with that one, I won't say I think it's mandatory to get a vaccination that you want to make. Yeah. What I will say on that is, for the most part, I mean, some of these schools it's mandatory to get vaccinations to go to school. You got to get your MMR, your TB booster, or they call it DTaP, Tdap, whatever they call it now. All these different vaccines that are mandatory for grade school, college, all that. So it's a possibility, depending on whatever private school or university that you're going into, that they might decide to do that. They don't make the flu shot mandatory, so I don't see them making this mandatory. So I'm pretty sure it'll probably stay a choice thing.
And on the same lane as that, I think I agree that it should be your choice, but I also think that there's going to be, what they're starting to call like a vaccine passport. So if you don't have, your little vaccine card, you may not be able to get into certain places. You may not be able to, fly certain places. Or they may have you test there and wait. Like something's going to be a barrier to you doing the things that you want to do if you don't have that vaccine card. That's just, my personal opinion, but I think that's where it's going to go.
And hey, Aaliyah.
Okay, y'all know her. So good. So we've had people that have tapped in from Dallas, from Illinois, from here in Houston, and I thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And we had a couple comments in the audience here, but overall, I thank you all for sharing with us. Before you get out of here, Lisa, from a research and science perspective, can you, Dr. Fauci, give us a message or something that we need to know as we close out? And we're thinking we're still on the fence.
Still on the fence.
Yeah.
I would say, do the best you can to safeguard your health. If you're gonna, continue to live your life, and you may have to travel, and go to the grocery store, go, shopping, take your kids to the beach. It's a very good idea to get the vaccine, because now that we have these variants out, we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know how many more variants could come out. I mean, we started with one. This time last year, we had one COVID-19, and you see all the death and destruction that one variant, that one, virus type wrecked on the world. So I just could not imagine being out here knowing that they have vaccines available to me and I wouldn't take it. I mean, I just, because my thing as a mother, as a wife, as a professional, I wake up every day and, just want to make sure the decisions I make are in the best interest of my family. My goal as a mother is to make sure I raise my kids to adulthood, and I'm here to see that. So if me taking the vaccine will help me you know, keep, stay here, with them and get them to adulthood to be, healthy and productive adults, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Again, thank you so much. And what we strive to do here with the Speak It podcast is to provide information to our community. My theme for this season is to rise. So elevate our thinking, elevate our living as a culture. We are excellent people, brilliant people. And like you said, it's up to us to educate ourselves and make the right decisions. You said it so well. I don't think I have anything else other than that. Other than have a good night to everybody and make sure you do your due diligence and take heed of this information and make the best decision for you and your family. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.